Anyways,
Hey,
hey, we're
Josh.
back.
I mean,
Hey, man, welcome
Tom.
back to the podcast. Well, it
Yeah,
depends on where you know me from. Midtown, 6th Street and North, everyone knows me as Thomas, but 6th Street and South, everyone knows me as Josh, which is weird.
yeah. I mean, I also have a different name. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Most people that I know on a personal level call me Ethan. There are some people online who call me Whole Face.
Whole face. Why are you called whole face?
We're not going to go into that. Anyways, um,
Okay. All right. But anyways, okay,
no,
so
I'm kidding. I'm
before
kidding.
before we were podcasting just now, we were actually talking about some other stuff. And so now I'm gonna ask Ethan, well, hey man, what are you drinking? What's in your cup?
I am so glad you asked. It's almost
Yeah,
like I just made it in front of you just a second ago with this V60 pour over. Interesting
right.
question.
Right. Yeah, it's a good question,
Fun
right?
fact.
So, fun
Yeah.
fact: we're not sponsored by the drink
By
that's
this
in
drug.
Ethan's cup. However, Ethan, tell us what you're drinking, man. You didn't mention it. You
Dude,
said
it's called Kratom. Get it in a smoke shop near you. Yes, they usually
okay.
smell it in
It's in a
smoke shops.
it's in a smoke shop. That's
You'll
funny.
see it Kratom. It's not legal in all states. Let me go look at which states it's illegal in. This is really cool. So, Kratom is not legal in all states. So, bad news if you live in Alabama or Arkansas or California. Wait, no, this is what? This is just very confusing. But
I
and
was
in
about to
some
say it's gotta be
states,
legal in California, right?
like Alabama, kratom is a Schedule 1 controlled substance,
It's Schedule One.
which means it is on the same plane as heroin
My
and
goodness.
methamphetamine and opioids, and this is only because it is completely misunderstood. Understood.
Right. Right. Well, isn't
Um,
isn't that usually why drugs end up on Schedule One? I mean, I don't know if marijuana is Schedule One now anymore, but I think at some point it was, right?
yeah.
But the issue was, I mean, the reason why hemp like originally was taken out of mass production and then also like outlawed and like its medicinal properties and other things like that were labeled as Schedule One because of the fact that the paper companies saw hemp and understood that it was a superior product in every single way, and so the large like paper giants at the time said, look, we don't want to deal with this as a competitor, and so they lobbied viciously within like the U.S. Senate and Congress and things like that to make it illegal, basically, right? Like that's how I
Yeah.
understand it. I might be wrong there, but it's kind of crazy
That's
that something like that made something with like a paper product that is superior in all ways to sort of the paper, like the tree mesh, or not tree mesh, the tree mush that we use to make paper and things like that nowadays. Superior in every way to it, and yet it was outlawed because of the fact that it was so good because of its
Isn't it
medicinal
still
properties,
illegal?
right? It's still legal in a lot of places. Like
That's
hemp in
crazy.
general is still super legal in a bunch of
We
different
can grow
places.
marijuana, but we can't grow
Right,
hemp. This is
right, yeah,
ridiculous. I
it's
mean,
interesting.
that and just the entire war on drugs coming from a racial background. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's
anyways,
kind of tough. So in any
kratom,
case, you're drinking kratom, which is
a leaf.
it's just it's just a leaf. That's all it is.
That's it.
One leaf.
There are
Yeah.
absolutely no notable
There
properties
are
about
no
it except that
other
it came off
properties.
of a tree and or bush.
Right,
No,
and it's one single leaf that you're drinking in your drink right
that's
now.
right. No.
Well, while you're looking at Wikipedia, your drinking kratom has reminded me of something that I was not doing a long time ago, but did for a little while. Have you ever had lemon balm or grown or seen lemon balm before?
I've smelled it, but no, I
You
have not
smelled it,
grown
and
or
it
seen
smells
it.
like lemon, right?
Yeah. That's
So
not
well, it's funny.
lemongrass, is it?
No, no. So I thought that lemon balm was a spice of some kind because it was in the spice aisle. Because I was looking for
Okay.
different things to grow in my pots underneath a grow light, and lemon balm was one of the things that we grabbed. And I was like, "Oh, I want to try doing this because it looks like a cool spice, like whatever." And then I looked into what are the uses for lemon balm, right? And it's just really tea, right? Like it's a tea, and like you grow it in mass quantities and stuff, and then you can turn it into it. But like the thing is, when you actually taste the tea, it tastes like lemon, which with just steeping the tea leaves. But what I what I realized is growing it under a grow light is really not the most effective way to do it because it doesn't grow very quickly, and apparently you need a lot of leaves to make 1 cup of tea. And so I think I grew the plant for 3 or 4 months in this little like petri dish, well, not petri dish jar, but thing, but like what you would think like of a candle jar or something else.
Yeah.
And it took me 4 different rounds over the course of like 3 months to harvest this thing and make it into 1 cup of tea. And so I
I
realized,
hate you.
oh man, but hey, I mean, I did that. So it was just
Just
a
tell us.
dress rehearsal but it tasted like lemon. It was great.
Honestly, I don't like you lying to me. You can just tell
Right.
me that you have a grow light for what people usually buy grow lights for.
I mean, you have a grow light for what people usually buy grow lights for, I would think,
I
right? I
bought a
mean, in the
grow
back.
light to grow plants, and it is sitting directly behind me, right there. That is my grow
Very
light.
nice.
I'm pointing at that in the other camera. You can't see it, but
Right. You can't see it. But in
speaking
any
of
case,
growing things, kratom. The common name is kratom. It's also the
right?
this Latin name is Mitragina speciosa. It's a
Why don't we use that
tropical.
name? That's so much better than
Dude,
kratom.
that's what I was just thinking. It's a tropical evergreen tree in the coffee family, native to Southeast Asia, indigenous to Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, New
Oh,
Guinea, and it
dude,
is
that's where I'm going. We're gonna have kratom coming out of our eyeballs over there. I'm excited.
actually, this is interesting.
Okay.
They outlawed it for a similar reason that what's it called? Hemp was outlawed because it is
Oh, really?
taking over the opioid industry because
Oh my god.
it's helping people get rid of their opioid
Get
addiction,
off of
and
opiates,
that's
yeah.
the last thing you want in that area.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. We need to have people addicted to our opioids. Come
Yes.
on, what else runs our country? A poppy or
Yeah.
or crop of poppy.
So
Seriously.
it has opioid properties and some stimulant-like effects. So, oh man, adverse effects: liver toxicity, death. You don't want to read about that. Let's read about something else.
Wait a minute. What's in your cup right now?
It's a cup of death. It's a.
Cup.
It's
Hey,
what it is.
here's drink kratom, your daily cup of death. Want to feel alive? The closer to death you'll feel, or the closer to death you come, the more you'll feel alive. Yeah, we should.
What
We
doesn't
should run an ad
ruin your
campaign.
liver? What
Makes you
doesn't
stronger.
ruin your liver makes you stronger. Anyways,
Wasn't that an old who originally coined, was that Plato that coined that term or that coined that saying? It was one of the ancient Greek philosophers, right?
what?
If
What
I'm
doesn't kill you
remembering.
makes you stronger?
Yeah. Actually, no, that was Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, right?
Didn't know that.
Am I wrong there? Yeah, I
Ah.
think that was sort of his. I don't know. Anyways, weird random facts. Continue what you were saying about kratom.
I'm not. I don't want to go into like extreme details because honestly, I don't know a whole ton about it.
Sure.
What I do know is it has saved a lot of people's lives, helping them get rid of their opioid addictions as well as other addictions. I've heard numerous accounts of people quitting alcoholism because of this. So
Right.
it's
Yeah. No, dude, that's great.
it's a big deal. But let me move this over so you can. Yeah, that'll be the same for you.
Yeah.
But the FDA right now is trying to ban this federally. Which
Really?
yeah, they're not gonna get far with it. I don't think. They
Yeah.
tried to do something like that 5 years ago, but dude. Yes, if you eat a whole bunch, your liver can
Yeah.
shut down and you
Sure.
might die or something.
Right.
That's with anything.
But if you're drinking it in the same amount as, yeah, I was about to say, if you're with anything, if you're doing it in excess, it's going to adversely affect your body, right?
can't-
So that's
yeah.
not exactly
It would take
not exactly a good thing, but
It would take an insane amount of kratom to actually hurt you. But
right. But I mean, that's a good thing with stuff like that, right? Because you're talking about it saving people's lives, because it's replacing opioid addictions and addictions to other stuff. Maybe you say like nicotine, alcohol, like other drugs, and adverse chemicals. But it's kind of like, that seems like something that whenever you're quitting those things, whenever you're getting back to a place of kind of soberness and walking in terms of being able to not be addicted, you have to have something to fill the void, and that's a really great thing to fill the void, right? Because I'm sure it has a bunch of other really good like really great medicinal properties and nutritional benefits and stuff like that. And I might be talking out of my butt here because I haven't done any of the research. But if you do need, because that void leaves somewhere to be filled, right? You got to fill it with something, and so
yeah.
why not choose?
Well,
Why not choose kratom, your new leaf supplement, for right here on the podcast? So thank you.
no
for listening.
ASMR. You're too close to that mic.
We're getting way too close. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop now. So I have an urge to do it, man, because the mic is here, and I know that in post you're gonna hear soft and sultry voices
Oh,
coming
stop
over
it.
your earphones.
Dude,
And you're gonna think,
my
wow,
ears are gonna make a mess if you know what I'm saying.
thank goodness.
But yeah, so it's not exactly medicinal in the fact that the properties of this drink will not add to your health in any way.
Okay, but they will
From
replace
what
and
I
help you
understand,
from getting
it
off.
does not. It also doesn't replace any kind of opioid or addiction. The way it works, if you take it right, if
Mhm.
you're not like taking a whole, if you take a ton,
Yeah.
you can feel like a high feeling.
Interesting.
But yeah, but you have to take a lot for that, and it also makes you uncomfortable with nausea and stuff if you
Yeah.
take too much. But taking a moderate amount it is not a high feeling whatsoever. It takes you to your good day.
Okay.
Like it's really weird. I can drink this and I am not in a bad mood anymore. I'm
Wow.
not upset at anything. I can deal with stuff a lot better. When I'm tired, this is a lifesaver. And it is not because there's no caffeine in it.
Huh. That's an
It just
interesting response.
really
It sounds like a tranquilizer is what you're-
it binds to opioid receptors in your brain.
Huh.
But it doesn't react the same way opioids do.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's not an opioid.
You know what this looks like right
But
now? Is I'm watching your camera. You've got the green going on in the background. You're wearing a camouflage hat, and you're drinking like what it looks like jungle juice inside of a mason jar. We should call this podcast like country boys or something else. He's like, here's all the products that you can get, buddy, that are going to replace your opioid addiction. Well, not replace it, but help it out, right? Give you the same feeling of a good day. And I brewed this stuff in my basement, buddy. It's like, that's the vibes that I'm getting, and I like it a lot.
Joshua and
So.
the Swamp Boy. Yeah. Tarzan and the Swamp
Oh
Boy.
man, Tarzan and his yuppie swamp friend.
You were Tarzan. I talked
Yes,
to him the other day.
I told you that I was Tarzan, man. I've got the hair for it. Like in the
Oh my
classic
gosh.
Disney movie, Tarzan has the same exact haircut that I do. Like it's kind of curly on. Well, it might not be curly on the bottom actually. I might be talking out of my butt there too. But give or take, he's got like long hair. He's very like toned, but he's also very slim. He's
Yeah.
just very lean. So in any case, yeah, Tarzan and his yuppie country friend. But your cousin or my cousins, your brothers. Because, okay, here's the thing. You and I both grew up in the South, but we never, like, took on a Southern accent per se. Like, some people might say that you have more of a Southern accent than I do, but I don't think that really even it's that noticeable. Whereas your brothers sound like the most country people that I've ever met in my life, And I'm sure that they would say the same thing, too. Like,
Yeah.
your brothers are like, yeah, man, I'll tell you what, we've just been doing great out here, man, and doing some welding and chilling and having a good time. And we went out and
I think
shot some
that's-
fireworks off the other day. Like, I don't know where that comes from necessarily, but I know that nobody in my family necessarily grew up with it. So
Yeah, no, it's something that they embraced as a culture that they want. It's a cultural thing they chose.
right. The question is though, can they talk like in terms of the way we're talking now in a normal sort of accent, or is that accent always put on for them?
No, I think you'll see you get that accent a lot because of the picture that they want to portray, and I'm
Sure.
speaking generally for both of them, more of Elijah than Arliss.
Right.
But the picture they want to portray to you is this dumb hick
Right.
portrayal because they get a kick out of it. It is kind of funny.
It's kind of
Being
funny.
a
Yeah,
dumb-
it's very funny.
Yeah. Like the shock value of like telling you how my engine busted down on the way over here, and I don't know fixed it with my I can't even come up with anything right now, but
Right.
that's a funny thing to them, but I think if you got them around intelligent people that they not that they aren't around intelligent people on a day-to-day basis, but if you got them around a certain set of people and for some reason they wanted to fit in,
Right.
it would be just like that. They would be talking, yeah, of course, this is interesting,
Wow, yeah, I can't imagine, to be honest, because I think quintessentially my understanding of my cousins, your brothers, comes from Elijah interacting with his son at the Christmas party. I don't know if you remember that
no.
interaction. Oh man, that was
He's got
incredible.
COVID right now.
What little guy or Elijah?
No, Elijah.
Oh man,
the little
that's
guy
tough.
might as well, but they're quarantined together.
Okay, well, for the audience, the story that I'm referring to was we were at, I guess it was the family Christmas party that happens on our mom's side of the families every year with all of their extended family. It's a lot of fun. We go and we hang out, we eat some good food, and have a great time. And we were out in the backyard playing, and Elijah's little boy was outside playing in a like imagine a pot, right, like a cooking pot full of mud, like fresh mud, and he's just like digging around in there. It's gross, it's disgusting. He's getting mud all over his face and hands and body, and so Elijah was ready to go, and he's out there digging and having a great time because, as any boy would tell you, right, playing in mud, like before the age of 4, is one of the greatest things in the world, right? Or playing in dirt in general, it's incredible, right? Like it's like having Play-Doh, but the whole world is just made of Play-Doh, so it's a good time. But in any case, he doesn't want to leave, and he starts crying, and Elijah looks over and says, "Hey, buddy, what are Daddy's 2 rules?" He was like, "No bitching, no crying." And he was like, "That's right. Let's go." Like, it was the greatest thing. I think I've
Sounds about
experienced
right.
as far as because we had talked to before the podcast. We were running over ideas about what to talk about, and
Yeah.
I said parenting, and I think you said, man, I don't know anything about that. And the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
we really don't know anything. But as far as parenting is concerned, I would want that to be sort of how I respond. It's like, hey, what are daddy's two rules?
I mean, those are the two rules I have for my marriage too.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
How's
I
that
mean,
working
no.
out so far?
Well, that's her. Those are her rules for me.
Okay.
But
Okay.
no, I'm kidding about
So
that.
you
but
cry a lot, right? You know, you walk into the bedroom in the evening and you're
Abs-
just like, let me cut my
Absolutely.
day.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes
No,
sense.
I don't. I'm not sure if we should parenting. That would be more like an outsider's perspective, like a
Yeah.
research project.
Yeah,
So
we'd have to bring some people on and say, so how would you parent effectively? But I mean, I say parenting too because you get, and I think we talked about this last week, more of a perspective on that every single day than like say I would, right? Like I once a week I'm able to teach Sunday school at church, but that's not even near because we get the kids for an hour, right? Like it's basically advanced childcare because we also tell them about Jesus. But like you get to actually like make them dinner and breakfast and like do disciplinary things and like see like in a group the different like I guess things that they're dealing with collectively as well as individually and see where where those things need to change and mold. So
yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure you have more of a perspective, more of a healthy perspective too on it than I necessarily do. But
it's definitely been it's been developing quite a bit. Beforehand, I had more of a picture of uh, parenting being similar to like steering a car and the
yeah.
car being the child,
Oh,
but
okay.
like and telling the child what to do kind of a thing. Now
Right.
I really feel like it's more like I'm the bumpers on a bowling alley.
Oh, really? That's an interesting
Like
perspective to look at. Yeah.
it's all they do the growing,
Right.
they do the rolling, they do the direction that they're going in.
Yeah.
All I'm there to do is to keep them from going over the side
Okay.
and let them know that they have help if they need it.
Okay. And some people would call you a crutch. So,
No, not like that.
yeah. No.
Definitely not like that.
Yeah. Messing,
Uh,
but yeah, makes sense. That's a good analogy to use, man. Because in a lot of ways, if you the moment that you try and create certain directions, right, for the ball to go, you end up with this place where the ball's gonna like bump up against the borders more and more, maybe even come to a stop, right? Because it loses all of its momentum entirely, right? Whereas you're just
mhm.
on both sides and you're saying, okay, well, here are the sides, the clear rules, the boundaries. Roll your ball down, and we'll see where it goes. But ultimately, right, it'll get to where it's supposed to get to.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really good.
There was a difference. I mean, even today with the 10-year-old Victor, he had a terrible time with his chores this morning, and he
Yeah.
was flipping out, crying, throwing stuff.
Gosh.
And I was like, "What is going on?"
And at that
And I
point, you
talked to
put
him,
them in the cage in the living room, right?
dude. The
And you
cage
just
doesn't work anymore. They have found ways to get
yeah.
out of the cage,
How they found
and
ways to get out of the cage? That was a secure
not to
cage the last
mention
time I
when
looked.
the I know it's solid metal, but not to mention last time the boss came by to look
Yeah.
at the cage and to come inside, he saw the cage, and I got into quite a bit of trouble.
Oh, really? Well, I
Um,
thought that the cage
uh,
was something that they decided that was a good method of practice, right? That
well,
and dosing them with ivermectin. So.
don't make jokes about that.
Oh
But
gosh.
wait, no,
Right.
I'm not going to talk about the ivermectin. I've never even heard that word
We've never
before.
heard that word at all before.
But yeah, the cage did not work out. I had to pass that off as something Keely and I were using for something else
Oh, fair enough.
for the dog.
Right. For the
But
dog. Right. Right. Right.
oh, he was flipping out this morning, and I was talking to him, and he was saying he was sitting in the floor
Okay.
crying, and it had gotten to the point where I was handing out the discipline left and right. I'm like, all right, there's 30 minutes extra in your room. All right, you're gonna respond that way. 30 minutes extra. He was up to
Right.
like 2.5 hours. He was gonna have to be in his room today,
Oh gosh.
and I got to the point where I said, you know what? You're gonna be grounded for the rest of the day. You're just gonna sit in your room all day, and if you keep this up, I'm also gonna take everything out of your room, and it's gonna be boring as heck if you keep this up.
Right, it's a little prison
And
cell. You know, you're
he's
just sitting in there. He's got one harmonica. He's just going at it. You know, and
no,
not
I
even
took
playing
the
any.
harmonica and I threw it in the trash.
I took it in the
No.
mud. And I threw it on the ground. I broke it into pieces. Now you
He
can't.
has no harmonica.
Yeah.
But I was saying this, and he's losing his mind, and it's just not getting better. And
Right.
I realize something's wrong, and he slips out. He says, And I didn't even get hardly any sleep last night. I was like, oh,
That's the
this boy
reason.
cranky. I said, listen,
Yeah.
okay, here's what we're gonna do. You forget that I was grounding you just now, and you forget the chores you're doing right now. And I say, you can either be grounded for a week, or you can get in the bed and lay down for an hour.
Right.
You don't
Go
have to
take a
go to
nap.
sleep.
Go
Just lay
take a
down.
nap. Yeah.
And he said, I get in the bed. I don't want to. I was like, just a second ago, you told me you were tired
Right.
and you wanted to lay down.
Right.
He said, I'm not gonna do it. He's sitting on the ground. I can't steer this child. I cannot steer this car. But I say, all right, well, I don't want you to get grounded for a week. But
Right.
that's what's gonna happen if you don't get up.
Right.
And how about we just go sit on the bed? Would you rather sit on the bed or be grounded for a week? Well, okay, I'll go sit down. That's it's like
Yeah.
slowly
Getting him to
inching
the
that
place where he
bumper
needs
over
to
a little
go.
bit.
Right. Yeah.
He took a nap, and dude, he is so much better right now. I'm
Right.
watching him in his room. We're doing FOB time, so he had a nap this morning, and this is the scheduled nap time. But yeah, he's doing a lot better. And
Wow.
he ended up didn't he doesn't have to be grounded now because he did his stuff like he was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man. I mean, sleep is one of the things in our lives that we take for granted so often, and I think especially at that age, because you're young and you're trying to act like an adult, right? Or like hopefully you're trying to portray yourself as an adult, especially if you're surrounded by people that are really wise and really great, and you want to be like them, and they stay up all day long, and they have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things that they're doing, and you as a kid are sitting there, man, like, oh, like I want to do those things too, right? And in
That's
that
what he
means
said.
no nap time. Right? I don't want to take a nap.
He's That's right. He said we were standing in the doorway. He was like flipping out,
Hmm.
and he was telling me what he was gonna do, and I said, "Sorry, buddy, I'm the adult here. I make the rules." He said, "I wish I was an adult." I said, "You know what, bud? I wish you were an adult too, because if
Yeah.
you were an adult, then we could have a reasonable conversation right now." He said,
Right.
What's reasonable?" So
The
we had that
logic
conversation.
receptors are about to be or yet to be built in, but yeah,
Oh,
and that's so
you just
interesting
need some
too.
kratom.
He just needs some kratom. He needs some coffee, is what you need. No, not really. Coffee's bad. It'll be bad for kids, but it's so interesting, man. I mean, like when we were kids, right? You want to be adults, right? Because you want to be respected, right? But when you're an adult, you want to have the freedom and you want to have the sort of I guess the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the not independence of a kid, but what is it called when you don't know a lot about the world? The naivety, not the naivety, but the innocence of a child, right? Like you still
Yes.
want that innocence because in a lot of ways, as you grow older and you learn more about the world, you're like, oh man, world's a screwed up place. I kind of wish ignorance was bliss, man. Like, that you could go back to quote unquote better times, right? Where the grass was greener on the other side and you kind of like look back and
But
say, oh, like it was pretty great then. Let's go back there. So
if you remembered where you came from adulthood, you would not be satisfied with that
that's exactly
because
true. Yeah.
releasing the responsibility means releasing whatever that responsibility brings you.
Right. And the
So
independence thereof. Yeah.
Jordan Peterson talks about that as um, you always make sacrifices.
Right.
If you choose to get married, then you are sacrificing doing anything else with any other person ever.
Right.
And completely forsaking any romantic interest in anyone else, and you are losing that
Right.
as an individual. You lose, but what you
Mm.
gain can be greater. Yes.
Are you happy that you
Oh.
sacrificed?
Yes.
Okay.
We're recording. Are you okay, honey? My wife just popped in to make sure that I was happy with my sacrifice.
That's incredible. Are you happy with your sacrifice? No, he's shaking his head. He's like
Yeah.
get
Yes.
get me out of here, please, help.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's not something I get to. I don't have to think about it anymore. And that
Yeah.
seriously,
That's so great, man.
dating and thinking about relationships like that
Yeah,
was such a waste of time for me.
yeah, man. I can
So I'm
imagine.
glad
I
I
mean,
don't have
like
to
since
do that.
like still being in that like that area of my life, it's also something too where I think at this point now I've kind of just given it up. I mean, in terms of like being out of relationships and other things, it's like, man, I don't even necessarily want to look anymore. Like if something comes my way. Absolutely. Like I think we were talking about it with right before you and Keely got married. You were kind of just like it just felt immediately correct, and I was like, then honestly, that feels like the way that I want mine to look as well. In terms of I don't necessarily want to be looking for anything, right? Because then you're resigning yourself to all of these different pockets of you're compartmentalizing like your search to oh well I want to find somebody who like fits this profile or box or something else, and that's just a terrible way to do it, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like if I go into it with the mindset of, you know what, I'm just kind of hands up, and you know what, God, do what you want to do, right? Then I feel
Yes.
like that's a better way to look at it. And in
Hmm.
general, it helps me be a little bit, I guess, more understanding and excited about being single, right? And being in a place, because so often, man, like I know people who are like, and I think I may have told you this before, but so many Christian guys that I meet nowadays, right, that I talk to are like,
Hmm.
if God has singleness for me for the rest of my life, like I'm content with that. No, sorry, that's not the way to
uh,
look at it. You know, they're like
well,
they're like it's
yeah.
okay, bro. I'll be okay with that. It's like no, you're treating your singleness as something that is like not a gift, an opportunity, right? Whereas
Yeah.
you can have the opportunity and in fact the extreme like pleasure and responsibility of being single and using the time that you have where you're not necessarily like, you don't have a lot of the same other like bounds that you would necessarily within a marriage relationship. You don't have the same
Mhm.
sort of giftings either, right? But there are
Yep.
different giftings that you have as a single person, and why not step into those right now, right? And sort of relinquish the control of that to the Lord because, He's obviously going to do it in your life if He's got it for you, right? That's the thing,
Mhm.
right? Is like, you're saying instead of treating it like an opportunity, you're treating it like a limiter and being like, oh, well, it's fine if I don't, it's like, that's not a way to look all, right? And then
Yeah.
that leads you to still putting this relationship that you want on a pedestal, right? And that pedestal is never going to be able to be achieved, because one, you're going
Because
to
it's idolatry,
it
is what
is.
it
It is.
is.
And you're going to continue to pursue that pedestal, and nobody is ever going to be able to get that, right? Because again, it's
Hmm.
idolatry. And so if you're relinquishing that to the Lord, putting the Lord on that pedestal and being a top down sort of thing, much easier to, I think, find something healthy, right? Like
Yep. And
yeah,
realizing that no one can make you happy. That
true.
is
Well,
not a thing.
and we use the word pursuit a lot, which is a biblical word in
Yeah.
terms of like looking after or looking for a spouse, right? Like, pursuing them, and really seeking to know them well and things like that. But I think we've taken the word pursuit and made it a very like independence based thing where we are like, well, we have to do this and we have to go after it. It's like, well, you could give that up to the Lord, right? And understanding that He's going to do the planning that He needs to do to get you where you need to be, to know that it's the right person to pursue, right? Because
Yes.
if you're just putting yourself out there and being like, all right, I'm going to start pursuing, it's like, okay, now stop, you're not.
Yeah.
But
And it's
anyways.
also, yeah, also waiting for the wisdom to make that kind of a choice.
Hmm. Right,
Seriously,
yeah, no,
because
seriously, it
I
takes time. It takes a lot of time because I can imagine too, like we've both been in and out of several different relationships before, like
Mhm.
maybe the one that you're like, the marriage that you're in now, or like the singleness that I'm in now. And it's something too where over time you have to get like that wisdom built up, because you're going to have the early on moments where you're sitting here thinking like, oh man, I really, and this is the thing too that the Christian guys use a lot nowadays, the wording, they're like, I really desire to be. It's like, no, I'm sorry, you're just horny, like I can't can't say it any other way, but
Oh,
in any
yeah,
case, like
it's so funny.
but I'm telling you, man, it's sad. It saddens me because so many people, and that's the thing too, is our society in a lot of ways, nowadays, like puts on this pedestal finding your person. Like I don't know if you've ever seen, you probably haven't, but on Netflix, Daniel Sloss is a comedian that does like some different stuff. He's sort of a nihilist. I think he's an atheist actually, in fact, but
Perfect.
he does, right. He does this bit where he talks about a jigsaw puzzle, right? And he talks about, as a 7-year-old, right? His father gave him this analogy for life, which was, all right, son. So your life is gonna be like a jigsaw puzzle. Over here, you're gonna start with the corners of life, right? You're gonna start with your family, your friends, and your career and your sports and other activities that you do, and then you're building your puzzle from the inside out, and finally you get towards the inside, and he's like, and do you know what the inside piece is of that jigsaw puzzle? And like a little kid's like, no, Dad, what's the inside piece? He's like, that's the
Yeah.
partner piece. Because your partner completes your life, right? And like all this different stuff, right?
Oh
And
no.
he said, at like in reality, right? Like the world around us nowadays is telling us that partner, that person, right? Or like let's say whatever that thing is, that idea, you shove that into your jigsaw puzzle to make the jigsaw puzzle work, right? And so you're trying to like press this piece down into the middle of your puzzle
Yeah.
that might not fit with all the right edges or something else, and you're like, you're looking at your puzzle, and we all know, right, how annoying it is to build a puzzle with somebody else, right? Also, like, trying to be in the middle of your jigsaw puzzle. But all that to say that I think in a lot of ways in the Christian perspective, like the world has bled into that because we think by
Mm.
the time that we're 21, right, or time that we're 22 or something, we should be like actively engaged in like planning to be married already, or like whatever, like there's no emphasis on like waiting for the wisdom to come, waiting for the wisdom of being in and out of some relationships, like figuring out what what sort of what sort of boundaries, what sort of things you want, you desire, and like where the Lord is leading you in your life, right, the direction that He's pointing you. Like we don't wait for any of those things. We automatically compromise and don't know anything about ourselves, right? And
Yep.
it's so sad to me because I see it every
Mm.
single day. Like I just graduated college, right? And almost everyone that I know from our Baptist Student Union was in that sort of camp where they were like, "Oh, well, we're going to get married young. We're going to go and do
Yeah.
together and whatever else." And again, there's wisdom in that in terms of, making your life with someone else, being together with someone because God said that it was good that man was not alone, right? Totally understand, but it's like, you don't even know about yourself. You don't know who God has made you to be necessarily. You're already compromising on the things that He might have otherwise had planned had you stayed single longer and figure those things out. And again, maybe that's according to His plan, but at the same time, it's just like, just wait and see, right? Just spend a little time thinking about it, like
Yeah,
running
I
into
think it
things.
should more. I think it should look more like uh, ignoring the prospect of marriage until it is so obvious. Like, oh, well, maybe I should marry this person
Right,
because, and I think that should. And this is me not saying this because I did it,
right.
but but just looking at it, I think how awesome would it have been if I was pursuing Christ as hard as I could,
Mm,
and that's all I was going for, and then marriage hit me in the face.
right.
Marriage hit me in the face, anyways.
Yeah, I was about to say, in
But
your case, it definitely smacked you right upside the
yes,
chops. You know?
yeah, smacked me in the face. Was not expecting it. It just boom.
Do
It
you
was there.
do you still have that video, by the way? The video that you made, I was the day after you met her or something else like that, saying, "I think I'm gonna
Yes,
marry this
yeah,
girl."
yes, I do. Yeah,
Wow.
I have it archived because it's kind of cringy.
Yeah, I mean,
No, it's
at some point
really not
you
cringy.
should post that to YouTube on the old channel, make it private, but just for some people to see. So
Yeah, man, it was very strange. It's something out of the movies, kind of a like
yeah, like a
love at
Twilight Zone
first
type.
sight.
Like this is the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. No, I
Interesting,
didn't. I've never expected anything. I didn't believe in that kind of stuff. I didn't believe that kind of thing would ever happen to me. And
right?
very much, I didn't have a whole lot. I don't think I had a whole lot of choice in getting married. I think that was God's choice, and I think that there are definite reasons for it.
Sure. Yeah.
But at the time, was I pursuing God to the best of my ability? No.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
before that, me thinking about marriage and me thinking about relationships was just, I don't know, a weight that I should have laid aside.
right, right. But I mean,
Yeah,
in a lot
to
of
run
terms,
right.
that's how the world, I think, has helped us or has wanted us to look at it, because it's like, either you're sleeping around or you're getting married, right? And so it's like
Yeah.
there's no in between. There's no being able to be single and be satisfied, right? Like you can't be, like, people look at you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're 60 and you're single? Like, are you okay?" Yeah.
Some people can be okay with that.
They
I don't think I
can,
would have made it.
but it's interesting too
Yeah.
because the world says you can't be okay with that, or you shouldn't be okay with that, or something's wrong with you if you are okay with it,
Nuh-uh.
and it's
I
not.
identify as asexual.
That's right.
The world's perfectly okay with that. They're okay with your being single at 60, and they're okay with
Well,
you
right,
being
right. But
a
I mean, like,
single man, woman, you know, whatever gender you are.
right. But I'm talking en masse, right? But if you say
Yeah, I know what you're talking
en
about.
masse, but if you say, yeah, like, I'm asexual, whatever, people will be like, "Oh, that's great, good for you. Like, I'm glad that you know
Yeah.
sexually what you're about." That's true. What is
Look
that?
at all my rooms. I'm looking at the I'm checking on the
Oh,
kids.
right, right.
Victor is jumping around from bed to bed. He's only supposed to be on one side of the room, but he's over
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Why is he over here?
I don't
We
know why
don't
he's
know.
over
He
there.
shouldn't be
He
running
shouldn't
around.
be over. He shouldn't be over there, but he is. Oh, goodness.
He already napped today, so
Do
I'm
you
gonna give him a
have?
break.
I need to. You know what you need to have is like a way that on the video camera you can, like, you have a little LCD screen that like pops out in front of the video camera and has your face on it. And it's like, "Get back in bed, boys. What are you doing?"
Well, actually, we have four new cameras, and the four of them you can speak through.
Oh, that's pretty
It's
cool. Like
really cool.
so you
Yeah.
don't have like an intercom system besides those things.
No, no.
That's sad. That's so sad.
Nah, that's okay. We have 3 kids right now.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
we don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goodness.
but when it gets to be 8,
Yeah.
this building can house up to 16 legally.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, I don't know how 16 would go, but
yeah. That'd be quite a bit. And the breakfast, like in that like little kitchen and things, I can't see 16 kids eating. I just can't.
yeah,
So that's
we could
crazy.
make it work.
You
But
could. I
it
mean,
would be
you'd have to use the dining room table too out in the common space, right? But that's the only
I
way
think
that you
it'd
can
be a
do it.
lot more fun that way.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
the
Could be,
kids
anyways.
only if the kids wanted to be here. But
True, but
group of kids we got
in a lot of ways,
don't want to be here.
that's
Yeah.
tough. Ugh, man. We talked about a lot of stuff today, and I just
Yeah.
thanks for being on, man. It's been fun.
Yes. Yeah. So we actually have planned, viewers, I'll let you know, we have planned to do a series on different misunderstood substances
Yeah,
inspired by
we're going to do them.
yours.
Yeah,
Yeah. Probably
we're
no,
gonna
we're
do
not
them.
going to
No,
do any substances.
I don't have
But
Reddit. Actually, I have a lot of access to them. I live in Atlanta. No, I
perfect.
probably won't end up doing them. But we will talk about them because the thing is, I'm sure you all out there want to know what's misunderstood about marijuana. You know, where to come from. What's
That
it
and
about?
yeah,
You know,
there's other
what about
substances.
psilocybin? What about I don't even know. What are
Yeah.
some, well, psilocybin is the root one of a lot of psychedelics, right? It's not necessarily in and of itself. Like you can't go
Yeah.
buy just like what's hey, you got some Silo right like down on the street or something else
Give
like
me
that.
that silo, bro.
Give me that good Silo, bro. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna start
Oh,
a series
yeah.
about
I think it
those.
would be yeah, a series about substances, and we can talk about how good for you or bad for you that they are, maybe how understood or misunderstood they are, and find some new interesting ones. For
Yes,
instance, did you know you can get high on nutmeg?
I did not know that. How would one get high on nutmeg?
It's a you eat a lot of nutmeg. I'm not sure
Okay,
how much it is,
okay.
but you can get high on nutmeg. Sailors used to do it
Oh,
back in the day. Apparently, it's a terrible high,
oh,
and you get really sick.
oh
But
gosh.
and
Oh,
you like see shadows and hear voices and stuff, and it's like a
interesting.
yeah.
At least
So
you get high, I guess.
we could do some really cool history on this kind of stuff,
Yeah,
and I personally would very much enjoy it.
yeah, I would
But
absolutely love to do that. But yeah, we had sort of talked about doing that, and we promise that the hopefully the next episodes won't be as boring and just lifey as they have been recently. I don't know. I'm prone to rambling. Ethan knows this too. I
well,
mean, we talk a lot, so
we got to get our feet up underneath us somehow, and I think this is just was has been really good practice for us, if nothing else, and a
absolutely.
lot of
Yeah.
fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're still watching here at the end, kudos to you. Great job.
Kudos, man.
We always got to give the listeners who watch all the way through the hey, you made it this far. Congratulations. If you stick
If
around,
you
you might
made
get to
it,
see a full moon.
if you watched the whole thing, you probably should subscribe. Honestly,
Yeah, if you watch the
just
whole thing,
because
please subscribe because we want to have you here for all the
if you
episodes.
enjoyed it for some reason, if you enjoyed just this
You
conversation
probably didn't,
between us,
but
you probably didn't. So there's probably no one watching. But if you did finish all the way at the end, go ahead and subscribe because this
smash
is
that
probably
like
our
button.
worst con.
Yeah,
This will be our worst content so far. It's only
hopefully.
better from now on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets
Hopefully.
better from now on. Hopefully, probably not, but continue watching.
Yeah.
All right. Dun 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 dun.